Have you ever stopped and wondered how you can take your jollof rice recipes for your party to the next level? Let me show you how. Using lamb shank, which we are going to be curing with the following ingredients: cloves, star anise, grains of selim, also known as huentian, which you may substitute with black peppercorns. You'll need some bay leaves, and we're not curing if we don't add some salt. So here is a whole lot of salt. Now, after adding the salt, you're going to toss everything together to ensure that your meat pieces are coated evenly with the salt, especially, as well as the essence from all the aromatics you've added. We will be curing in the fridge, not at room temperature, as most of us were taught to do with our tolo beef recipes. Over 4 days, it'll go in the fridge, and on removal of that cling film or lid, you should be hit in your face with the purest, sweetest, most beautiful tolo beef essence you've ever encountered. For 4 days, you would cure in the fridge, and prior to use, you would need to wash all that excess salt off thoroughly. Now, curing in the fridge means it's hassle-free and it's also low maintenance. At no point during those 4 days would you need to go and drain the pulled out fluids and take a look at it, make sure it's okay. No, none of that. Now, transfer your cured lamb shanks into a cooking pot or a wok. Add the same aromatics you cured the meats with. Chop some onions and add, as well as some Thai chilies or any chilies you love to cook with. Then add some water, enough to about halfway. And then place the lid on and cook on medium heat for 40 minutes or until the lamb shanks are tender enough, not falling off of the bone yet, but with a firm yet tender texture. Then separate the meat from the broth onto an absorbent material, such as a paper towel or a kitchen towel. This way, excess liquid can be absorbed before the next step, which is searing. Also, don't forget to strain the broth in order to separate the whole aromatics from the actual broth. And this broth is perfect. Now we're ready to cook. We're going to sear our cured lamb shanks right now, starting with some cooking oil, just about a film of it into your cooking pot. Make sure it comes to a piping heat level and place your lamb shanks in there. We're going to really brown. We're not searing. We're browning the lamb shanks, all right? So we're doing this over medium high. While the meat is browning, we will add some curry powder to it, just so the flavor of the meat will be even more exciting. Also add some chopped onions and some minced garlic. And then stir everything together. We're still cooking on medium-high heat at this point. By stirring, you're going to allow the onions to grill and release that beautiful grilled onion flavor into the meat. Now, I recently shared how to make this tomato-based stew on this channel. I have several of them, but this is the most recent one I shared. I'm adding 4 tablespoons of the tomato-based stew in here. And I'm going to stir now to ensure that the meat is all beautifully coated with the tomato-based stew. And then I will place the lid on, turn the heat down to medium-low, and cook for 10 minutes. This way, I'm forcing that tomato-based stew into the meat and also tenderizing it further. Now your meat, your lamb shank should be nutty in taste because we cured it. It should be so full of umami. It should be so tasty, friends. You try this, I'm telling you, you're going to always fall back to this recipe. Now we're going to continue cooking. Our vegetables have already been prepped. I have some carrots that are going in now. And I'm just going to sort of stir fry the carrots until they are soft. I'm going to add a little bit of the broth just to deglaze the pot, because we have some really tasty bits that are sticking to it, right? So we want to deglaze with a little bit of the broth. And now all of those tasty bits have been released. We're going to add now some red and green bell peppers, as well as some onions, all nicely chopped. Don't forget to add some salt or your seasoning of preference, and some crushed black pepper. We'll cook for about 2 minutes. And if you love to add bouillon, right now will be the best time to do so. I added that buttery steakhouse seasoning mix. It has herbs in it, so it's even better. I also have some cabbage going in now. We're going to stir fry for a further minute or so and then remove from the pot. We don't want to overcook the vegetables. We're going to cook the jollof rice now. So a little bit of cold pressed coconut oil goes in here because I really want that lovely coconut flavor. So we're going to just melt the coconut oil, wash our rice until the water is clear, and then we'll add our rice. And this is jasmine rice, by the way. We're going to add our rice to a melted coconut oil and toast the rice for a little bit or until it is dry. And this is the point where you want to go and add your tomato-based stew or your jollof stew. So your jollof stew must be made ahead of time. Now, after adding, we're going to continue to toast some more, forcing the flavors to mesh all the way through and together. This is the point also where you'd want to taste for seasoning. You can add your bouillons at this point and also some more salt. Now, my broth has some salt in there, so I will add that first before I add any other seasoning. So I'll add that first and then taste. If I feel I need further seasoning, then I will go ahead and do so accordingly. And now, friends, we're ready to throw the lid on and turn the heat down to medium-low and cook for about 15 minutes. We'll go back and stir, and that's what you want to do with your jollof rice. You don't want to use too much water to cook it because we want fluffy grains after it's cooked. So 15 minutes later, you go and you stir it, moving the bottom onto the top and vice versa. And now you're going to turn the heat down all the way to low setting. If your heat level goes all the way to 10, then you want to set the heat to 2 out of 10. And going forward from this point, we're going to be using steam to cook the rice through. So we're going to be steaming the rice, and that's how you cook jollof rice, with steam. And you do so by trapping that steam with a parchment paper, leaves, or a foil, aluminum foil. And turn the heat down to the lowest setting. We've already done that. You're going to cook for about 30 minutes. Then you're going to go back and check on the rice. You're looking for fluffiness. You're going to stir the rice and ensure that you have the fluffiness already jump started. And if you still have some crunchy areas, sprinkle a little bit of water on there and throw the lid and the parchment paper back on, keeping the heat still on low setting, and cook another 20 minutes or so, and it should be all done cooking. At that point, it should be free of crunchy rice grains, and really ready to serve and eat. For those who don't care for all those vegetables, I set some of the jollof rice because it's ready to eat. Like I said, I set some aside for those people. And then we're going to go in now with some chopped tomatoes minus the seeds. And you have to season your tomatoes with a little bit of a sprinkle of salt, okay? It makes all the difference. And the tomatoes really will bring some more moisture to the rice, all right? Make it really nice and moist. Now go in with your stir-fried vegetables and fold them in. And that is it. Voila, we are ready to serve and dig in. Your rice grains at this point will be tender. They will also be very slender and elegant. So you want to be careful and keep that in mind when you are folding your vegetables in so that you're not breaking those slender, gorgeous, just stunning, elegant rice grains, okay? Fold it in perfectly. There's still residual heat in this jollof rice, right? So the vegetables will continue to tenderize or soften. So you want to remove it from the heat at this point. Now, the lamb shanks I kept in the oven at some point. So they're nice and warm. And after serving the rice, communal style or party style, or really ready for that table, you're going to also place your lamb shanks on. And the texture those lamb shanks offered, to die for. Absolutely, hands down, to die for. And if your jollof rice can pour out of its cooking pot the way it just did onto the serving platter, then you know you nailed the fluffiness. You just absolutely nailed it. It does not get fluffier than this. While it's fluffy, it's also moist. And of course, we know it's full of flavor. Place your meat on and just look at this. Isn't this show-stopping? Isn't this the conversation starter? Imagine this next to other dishes on your party table. And garnish with some parsley. And look at the texture of that cured lamb. You see, it is tender, but it has that nutty texture to it. Nutty taste and texture. Yeah, there is such a thing. Now look. See? It is juicy. You just have to try the recipe to experience what I'm talking about. It's just pure goodness. Pure goodness. Comfort food, next level comfort food. And look at all those crunchy vegetables. Colorful, just like the rainbow. Just gorgeous party food. I really hope that you're all inspired and have learned a thing or two and will be trying this recipe soon. Take your jollof rice recipes, especially for your parties, to the next level. This lamb shank, nothing better. Thank you all so much for watching. Make it a great day, and as always, have fun, especially in that kitchen.